This is one module in a 21-part series that the York Group has developed to provide guidance on key elements of a cloud business model, and I would encourage you to spend time going through the rest of the series. As you start moving to the cloud, there are a number of fundamental decisions you will need to make before you even start thinking about sales, marketing, channels, and so on. If you don't lay the right foundation today, you'll pay a big price later. In many ways, you are at the proverbial fork in the road, deciding whether or how fast you want to move into the cloud. For many of you, the cloud will be opportunistic. You will have a cloud offering because someone might insist that you have that as a delivery model, so it becomes a save the deal situation for you. But you still focus your time and resources on the on-premise perpetual license model. For others, the cloud is strategic. This doesn't mean that you have to be all in, leaving an on-premise business behind and only doing cloud and subscriptions. But it does mean that you want it to be a significant part of your business and that you will dedicate resources to make it happen. If it is strategic, it will impact many aspects of your business, including your product architecture, your target markets, and your go-to-market strategy. Now let's look at some of the strategic decisions. All in is a pretty popular phrase these days, but is it the right choice for you? Some high-profile companies have made the choice to phase out perpetual licenses completely and only sell their solutions as a service. Adobe is an example of this. But for most companies, it will not be an all or nothing. While SaaS is growing very quickly, it still has less than 10% of the overall enterprise spending on software. The majority of the market is still on-premise, so for many of you, even if you see recurring revenues as the way you want to go, you'll want to give your clients a choice. At the end of the day, you want to maximize your revenues by responding to market needs. In the CRM market, SaaS is becoming the default model, while ERP is still very much on-premise. One of the first critical decisions you have to make is the choice of architecture. Do you go true multi-tenant, or do you go with the hosted virtual machine version of the product? There's still some confusion about terminology. You can have multiple tenants on a single virtual machine, but you have to pay for the full VM whether you have 1 or 8 tenants on the environment. So while you do have multiple tenants, you don't have a multi-tenant product architecture. In a true multi-tenant environment, everyone is on the same code base and they all share a single database license, but with partitions to avoid commingling of data. The driver for many companies when choosing the architecture is the cost of rewriting the application. With the ASP or VM model, very few modifications, if any, have to be made to the product. In many cases, clients don't really know or care about the difference. They just know that the application runs on someone else's hardware, they can access it through a browser, and they pay for it on a monthly basis. For ISVs that choose this route, it gives them an opportunity to have a cloud offering at little cost and work on transitioning the business model. At some point, though, the cost of supporting all those virtual machines and perhaps multiple versions of the product become greater than the cost of rewriting the product. Multi-tenant architecture will drive down the operating costs and allow an ISV to scale the business much faster. Another consideration when it comes to product architecture for a multi-platform product is whether you want to be SaaS, the pure software application layer, or whether you want your solution to be a platform on which others can add value. There is a growing school of thought that the pure SaaS products will become a commodity, that customers can easily switch to other products with similar functionality if they get a better price. And stickiness is really important with SaaS. You want to prevent your clients from going someplace else. I will start by using a well-known example. There is a segment of the market that thinks that Office productivity suites are becoming a commodity, that Google Docs and Office 365 are more or less interchangeable. We see this in many other markets such as CRM. For this reason, Microsoft is encouraging ISVs to build solutions on top of SharePoint. This can be simple add-ons and extensions or full-blown applications. The reasoning is that customers who use these other applications and incorporate them into their business processes will find it more difficult to move to another Office productivity suite. SharePoint and the associated applications become the glue that makes the client relationship sticky. We see the same thing in CRM. Both Dynamics CRM and Salesforce.com have built large ecosystems of developers that have their own applications running on Dynamics CRM or Salesforce as the underlying platform. We have talked about the cloud solutions being a technical platform, but it is also a platform for revenues. The first sale really is a Trojan horse, the foot in the door to establish the relationship. The objective then is to expand the relationship to drive more revenues for you and your partners. You will be spending money to acquire the customers, and anything you can do to grow the revenues per client improves the return on the initial investment. There are a lot of revenue sources, including services. Services do not go away just because it is SaaS, especially in the enterprise space. There are usually requirements for implementation, including integration, data migration, business process reengineering, and more. These can be a big factor if you're working through channel partners. The revenue should also grow from organic growth, such as more users within the company, adding new modules and functionality, training new users, custom applications, and so on. We're also seeing a lot of cross-selling where vendors with non-competitive solutions pay each other referral fees. When dealing with the clients, SaaS is a platform for ongoing communications. In fact, ongoing communications is a requirement if you want to be successful. With on-prem, many vendors sell a license, provide support, and make sure they get the maintenance agreement renewed, but there isn't any form of proactive account management until a renewal cycle comes into play, and it is time to sell the new version of the product to a client. In some cases, the only form of communication takes place when the customer calls to complain about something that isn't working. With SaaS, clients can vote with their feet. If they are no longer happy with the product or the vendor, or simply found something they like better, they can decide not to renew with you and go someplace else. You have to stay in regular contact with the client to make sure that they are using the product, know how to use all of the features, and stay satisfied enough to keep renewing the agreement. The York Group helps ISVs and services companies that want to expand their cloud business. Our website offers a wide range of resources that you can access at no cost. And if there's anything we can do to help you, feel free to give me a call or send me an email.